Oh god, this is gonna make for great audio.
That's fine. We haven't started yet.
We'll talk about eyelids.
Yeah, we've been talking about eyelids for the last 3
That's
minutes.
good content. I'd listen to that.
Welcome to Eye on the Community, where we talk about
Eye
eyelids.
on the community.
My eyelid podcast, where we sit around eating chicken wings, talking about eyelids.
Why chicken wings?
Did you want to make sure that it's like loud enough and stuff?
That's actually a really good idea. Okay. I didn't actually turn up the game. Turn up the Jeremy. Okay. I already pressed record, so let's start.
What's up,
Did we get-
gamers?
Did we get that really good slurp in it?
Yeah.
Can that be the
Yeah, we
intro?
did.
Just you slurping really loudly?
I won't do that again. Alright, so we'll do a shitty intro. This is Jeremy, June, and Kerry's first attempt at a game club thing that we want to do. I think this is going to go well. We looked at Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, and now we're going to talk about it for an amount of time. If anyone is listening to this, which I doubt will actually happen.
Wow.
Well, I don't know. Are any of us gonna like?
Hi, Ollie. Hi, Harry.
Hi, Mum.
Hi, Mum. Yeah, that's right.
Mum won't listen.
No. What is Uncharted? What's a podcast? How do I listen to it on my iPad?
Uncharted 3, Drake.
Drink.
This is my voice, and I'm Kerry. If you two want to introduce yourselves as well.
This is my voice, and I'm June.
This is Jeremy.
And you.
And yeah, I guess it's my voice. Unfortunately.
Great. So, we all have really super official Google Docs, and we're going to go through them.
What's your Google Doc called, Kerry?
Uncharted, The Lost Legacy Thoughts. TLL Thoughts.
Right.
Capital T, capital L, capital L.
What's your Google Doc called?
Lost Legacy Notes.
Ooh.
What's your Google Doc called?
Uncharted: A Thief's Lost, Golden Legacy, Abyss, Drake's Deception.
I don't know what I expected.
The thing is, you already told me that, and I forgot about it. Okay, so we're coming at this from... you haven't played the previous Uncharted in a little while, right?
I played them last year. I played them...
You played them last year before 4, right?
So I had only ever played the PlayStation 4 remaster.
Yeah, which is fine.
Which is fine because the games are identical, just looking a little nicer.
It's so good.
And I bought that in preparation for Thief's End, which is number 4, and then I played number 4. And then... So I was the only one who had previously played the Lost Legacy before doing this.
Yes.
So this was my second playthrough.
Yes, I've been playing through all of the games with my partner up until now, and I hadn't played The Lost Legacy yet. This is the only Uncharted I hadn't played. So all of my thoughts, these are my first impressions. I haven't played it since I finished it, which was about a week ago. Yeah.
I have not touched an Uncharted game at all, ever.
Yeah, or a Naughty Dog game.
I've played Crash Bandicoot, thank you very much.
How long?
I don't know, when I was a kid.
Okay, so you actually played it. Alright, well...
Wow.
I mean, those games share so much
Alright.
similarities.
Yeah, I mean, the jumping over medieval men with shields and pikes is it's really reminiscent of the...
Okay, we don't want to get into the Lost Legacy spoilers just
Oh,
yet.
okay, sorry. We'll save that for later.
Yeah, so I went into Lost Legacy having not played any Uncharted at all, so hopefully my opinion will be
ask you
different.
about that first?
Yes.
Because I want to know what your take on it, like your overall impressions of this game and like the story of it, how it was for you not knowing some of the characters already, because all of these characters that you know in this game, except for the villain, Uncharted people know already.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as well, and I think they did a really good job of making it so that you didn't have to play the old ones to understand. Like, I still got the full story. I mean, there was parts of, Nadine's issue with Sam that I didn't really understand.
Yeah, I thought that would be something.
But it didn't really make much of a difference in the end, anyway, because it's still told... You still got the point that there was tension there, so...
Yeah, like so like there was never a point where you were like, I don't understand what's going on.
Or like you don't care what's going on either.
Yeah, so like I I found myself, I think that's something that they've done really well with the characters, which we're going to talk about later as well. That even though I didn't understand what was, like, some of the stuff they were talking about, I still wanted to know about it.
That's cool.
And I still, like, wanted to hear everything that they said to each other, because I don't know, those characters are really good and I love them.
Totally.
So
Totally. They do a really good job with their characters and performances, and the actors. So good. Cool. All right. So let's talk about the story. This is Chloe Fraser's Discord.
sorry, I'm sorry. I muted it.
Unprofessional.
Oh my god. That was our Discord, not yours, if you're listening to this.
Oh, you thought you got a message. It was me.
Too bad. This is Chloe Fraser's first solo outing.
Can I ask what game Chloe Fraser was in?
Uncharted 2.
Yeah,
Uncharted
introduced
2.
in Uncharted 2 and in...
Which was regarded as kind of the best.
well, not by everyone, but
No.
it is one of the prevailing
Yeah.
opinions, is that it's like pure Uncharted. It is unadulterated Uncharted. Because number 4 is, it's a lot of fan service and like tying off loose ends, and 3 is a bit of a mixed bag.
Yeah.
At least I think so. So 2 is like really pure, and that's Chloe's introduction to that. She's also in 3 for half of it, or a third of it. So she's really good. She's like a fan favorite.
I completely forgot she was in 3.
Yeah, she's like the driver in London.
Oh shit! Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, and she goes to Syria with Cutter.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, 3 almost
is-
left no impression on me.
I know, it's
really.
pretty forgettable. But that's a topic for another day. So what was interesting about this story is that it puts Chloe in a really different light, because Chloe's not the sidekick. Chloe's not the there to further Nathan Drake's story. Chloe is there with her own story. So we also see what we haven't seen before with this story, in that Chloe's investigating things that relate to her heritage, that relate to her parents and her parents' culture, and that's just not at all touched on in the previous things. So I found that really interesting in the way that it's treasure hunters sort of ducking in between the Civil War, which is not uncommon for an Uncharted, but it's also someone's got actual real stakes in the conflict that's going on, more than just there's a big shiny thing that's worth a lot of money at the end of the tunnel. It's like, oh no, there's going to be...
I'm surprised they haven't done that.
Yeah. I mean, I think
feel like it has a lot of weight there they could have used.
Totally. Totally. And the thing with the previous Uncharted games is because Nate's just like, oh, we gotta go find the great thing because it's a great challenge and I'm gonna be rich at the end of it. And it's like, oh no, but this is bad for humanity, so we gotta stop it, or whatever. There's always that trope, but it's never because there's a real personal struggle there until 4.
Yeah, it's very... so, like, it's very Indiana Jones in the sense that, like, at the very... throughout the opening of the Indiana Jones series in the first movie, it's about the Ark of the Covenant. And, he's trying to find the Ark of the Covenant before the Nazis try and find the Ark of the Covenant. And at the end, the Covenant kills a lot of people and then it gets taken away. And in the third movie, it's about finding the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
Which is, like, also, like, buried in, treasure hunting fantasy.
Yeah, and, like, correct me if I'm wrong, because I haven't seen these movies, but Indiana Jones, like, motivation, it isn't like, the bad guys are going to find this and take advantage of it. It's like, I want it, I'm also chasing people who want it as well, right?
It's probably actually more, we can't let the Nazis get their hands on this.
Okay.
There are more personal elements to it. Like, I'm not sure what the Indiana Jones books are like because they're based on books. I think. No idea. Yeah, like wow. I'm pretty sure they're like older than the films. But
if you say anything wrong on a podcast, you can get sued, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, like it's fine. Like Spielberg,
Is that real?
Spielberg,
You go to jail.
Yeah, George Lucas and Spielberg will come in. Harrison Ford will hit me like he hit Ryan Gosling. Anyway, so it's Uncharted was very much Indiana Jones light.
Yes.
in the sense that it just was very much like, this is my next, my next
Like
big
conquest.
score. Yeah,
Yeah.
like he's a thief. He's not really. Indiana Jones he's a teacher, and he, wants everything. His line throughout the series is that belongs in a museum.
Right.
He does it for like the great benefit of everyone, so everyone can see this amazing thing.
All right. Right.
Yeah, whereas
The greater good.
kinda.
And
And
Drake's a mercenary.
yeah.
A nice person, but a bit of a dickhead, only in it for himself.
He kills a lot of people.
He only
kills a lot of
kills
people.
bad people. He only kills the bad people.
Only like 300 people per game.
It's more like 1,000.
It's a lot of people.
You see the tracker in the Uncharted collection. It's like at least 800 people per game.
Jesus.
Okay, so.
So
something-
you can still talking about the story? Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, the story goes back, and no wait, never mind. You go.
Okay.
You go.
I was just gonna say something that's also interesting about this is it's very personal for Chloe, which is great because we haven't seen from Chloe.
Yeah.
And it also changes Chloe's dynamic for the series, which is because she's normally quite quippy and charming and humorous until things are serious, and then it's like we're all gonna die, we're all gonna get killed or whatever. There's not much nuance in there, which you see a lot of in this game, but it's also a lot about Nadine, and it's really interesting seeing a lot more from Nadine because
What game was she in?
Uncharted 4.
Okay.
So in each, except for this game, basically in each Uncharted entry, there's sort of like the bad guy and their sidekick, basically.
And
Yeah. So
Nadine was a Sav's sidekick.
Asav
in
is new for this game.
Okay.
Yeah.
But was the basically the sidekick / the military contractor for the antagonist, the main antagonist of 4.
Okay.
So you do have multiple fights against Nadine in Uncharted 4.
Yeah, she's a core character in the game, but
She beats the
also
living hell
villain.
out of you.
yeah, it's awesome. I fucking love how ripped she is.
She's so buff.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh my god! Like
the
when I
fir-
first saw her, I'm like,
I know, and the first
Oh
time
my
you
God.
see her in
She's like a
in
fucking
Uncharted
super soldier.
4, in Uncharted 4, is in like a dance auditorium sort of thing. It's like this really flashy event, and she's wearing this like nice silk sleeveless
yeah.
top, and it's like
and
she's
her arms
really
are bulging.
Yeah.
it's like
It's-
she's all
it's
dressed
like-
up, and then you look at her arms, and it's like, oh my god,
It's like everyone got dressed up to see the gun show
Yeah.
going on. That is Nadine Ross.
So yeah, they're hunting down the Tusk of Ganesh. I don't really know why. Why are they doing that?
So it was. There's more than one reason. So like I wrote some of this down because I also didn't really. I mean, I got it, but I didn't really get the real meaning behind it.
Yeah.
Like first time I played it, so it's because of Chloe's father, and he had
Right.
this
He had the obsession with
Preoccupation,
the
yeah.
next
Yeah.
thing.
which is also like I'm going back to Indiana Jones here. The third Indiana Jones is all about Indiana Jones and his father had an obsession with the Holy Grail.
Oh.
And then his Holy Grail. His father got kidnapped by the Nazis.
Classic Nazis.
And it is it's a really it's I'm not going to say that they didn't change it to make it their own thing, but it's definitely very reminiscent of that, which is fine. But so there's that, and there's also the element of Chloe doesn't want Asav to have
Yeah.
the tusk.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point, because Asav's just doing it to be like a symbol for his rebellion or something. Although then it turns out he's actually just selling it.
Yeah, that was really.
I wrote some things down about that, but I'll get
Yeah.
to that with when we're talking about characters, when we talk about Asav.
So why did Nadine want it? Because Nadine had her
Nadine
own-
was hired by Chloe to
Okay, I see.
to help Chloe and get a share of whatever the profit is at the
Okay.
end from the Ministry of Culture,
Do you remember why she hired Nadine?
because she needed help to get in and to get into the area and find the tusk after Sam had been not kidnapped but isolated from Chloe. She just needed some backup.
Yeah, I just didn't remember. Oh yeah, and then there was, they had a conversation about how Nadine lost. What's the name of the military company?
Shoreline. Yeah, because of what happened in Uncharted 4. Yeah. She had to sell the company. She
sold it, or she lost, or she got kicked out.
Or maybe she got kicked out. Something like that.
I'm pretty sure she got kicked out. I can't remember if I wrote that down.
Yeah. So, the end of 4, like her lieutenants make off with all the loot, and leave her in the dust, and so she's out of Shoreline, which was like her family business. Which is weird. It's
her
like,
my
family business of killing hundreds of people.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm so passionate about this business of being so violent for a price.
Military for hire.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Oh yeah, my dad was so violent, it was amazing. And now I've let him down, even though I'm still being violent for a cost. Anyway, so yeah, I feel like it's kind of hard to talk about the story without talking about the characters. Should we just move on to that?
I mean, they kind of almost go hand in hand.
Yeah, I know.
Because, like, you know, Naughty Dog games are very character-driven stories. Like, you know, the stories are really good, but, like, you know, it's
all about the characters.
Yeah,
it's all about the performances.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can we talk about how it's one of the first times ever that there's 2 women of colour in a video game as main protagonists?
Totally. And not Americans too.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting thing I hadn't thought about either. It's so amazing, and it's such not a big deal.
It's not a big deal, and the fact that they don't rely on men at all during the entire game.
I know, and they kick just as much ass as anyone else, and the only man who they're really relying on is Sam, and they save him more than they save them.
And like you don't even see him, you know, until the last quarter of the game anyway.
I know.
Yeah.
And like, you know, like I'd even go to say that like it's not a big deal thing, like it kind of just is a big deal, and that's
exactly
like and it's fine for it to be a big deal because it's so uncommon in games. That
I suppose in that sense it's a big deal in terms of like our culture, but it's not a big deal in terms of when you're playing the game. Like you don't.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. Like I'm not saying like, you know, anything has changed as far as gameplay, but it's more, you know, it's a like it was a decision that they actively took.
Yeah.
Which I think is like a really good decision to make.
Yeah, totally. In that same regard, there's this note I made down when Chloe's infiltrating in like the very first chapter after the prologue, when it's nighttime and you're on the ground floor and you get to that like checkpoint where there's like 2 or 3 military dudes and they're like looking her up and down and being like, hey, where are you going? And like, I'm talking to you and all this stuff. And then they get the call and they're like, just let it go, whatever. And she says, they're lucky I have somewhere else to be. And what I loved about that, it was like, Chloe's being meek and whatever just to keep a low profile and get through that. But she would kick their asses if she had any reason, or rather, if she didn't have such a compelling reason to keep going forward.
What I like,
and to keep herself like in cover.
Yeah, totally.
What I like about that is like you don't see her potential until, especially from my perspective,
from like a blind perspective,
because I haven't played 3 or 2, whatever, which one, 2, the one that she's in.
Yeah.
Like I don't know this character at all, and so like when she, all the dudes are patting her up and down, it's like it's kind of uncomfortable.
I know, it's so gross.
Yeah. And then you see her, punch some dudes in the hallway and behind the red door. It's like,
yeah.
We're good, actually. We're all good.
And then like being so ballsy in that first scene with Asav, where she like kicks the table and the lantern lights up.
Like there was another bit like I actually wrote down specifically, which was when later on when you're in the big open air, the open world section of the game.
One of the conversations.
Yeah, it was. There was. When was it? It was when you're on the 3rd major tower, and you have to push the 3rd crank, and it's like, and they're kind of saying,
and the crank breaks.
And the crank breaks, and then I didn't actually write down who says what, but one of them says, "It's nice working with a woman for a change." So Chloe says, "It's actually nice working with a woman for a change," and Nadine says, "Too right, not many of us out here."
Yeah. And they reference it, and they're just aware of it, and they're not. It's just like a matter of fact
Yeah.
And it's just the way it is. And
yeah, like they're not dunking, but it's still totally like a commentary on games as a medium of
absolutely
how uncommon that is to actually happen.
Yeah, and there's only like one conversation which is like about guys they like think are cute or whatever. It's like there's only once, and it's just
was that the Nathan?
Yeah, totally, and it's just them shitting on Nate.
Yeah,
and it's great.
Yeah.
It's not them being like, oh, he's so dreamy and like, oh, what's it like to touch his muscles? It's like
like actually fuck Nate.
He's
like
maybe so annoying.
Yeah,
he's so annoying.
Everything was great until fucking Nate came along and wrecked my shit.
Yeah, oh, it's amazing.
What else have I got written down here? They never needed help at all. Like during the entire game, they relied on each other as well.
Even when they ended up with Sam.
Yeah, even when they're with Sam, Sam's always the one that sort of needs help.
Yeah.
They.
Just a doofus.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the other Uncharted games feel like, obviously, but when I was playing as Chloe, I always felt really powerful and strong and confident. I think that has to do with the gameplay mechanics and stuff as well, and like in how easy climbing and stuff feels.
Totally. You are no less capable in this game than if you're playing Nate in any of the others.
Yeah, and like that being said, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't remember any damsel in distress moments in Uncharted. Like, I don't remember the first game much.
Okay, in the first game there is.
Yeah, okay.
Because the very end is like Navarro has Elena.
Yeah.
And you've got to get to the boat because he's got Elena and you've got to save Elena.
Yeah.
So that's like the very end, and that's a bit disappointing.
Yeah, it was very like tropey.
Yeah, after that it more becomes about, oh no, because Elena gets blown up in the second one too. But then Chloe's kind of saving Elena, and that's like the redemption of like their attention to... anyway, there's one there is one big damsel moment, and that is in Uncharted 1. And I think they learned from that, and they move away from it, which is great, because Elena's saving his ass more often than not in the later games.
And especially in Uncharted 4, Nate and Elena's relationship is probably the best relationship I've seen in a game.
Oh my god.
You
gotta play it. You gotta play it.
Like, there are moments in that which is just like very, very real. Moments where... So there's a section of the game where, like, for the first maybe quarter of the game, you're lying to Elena about what you're doing. And this is after Nate and Elena have become married.
Yeah, it's like they finally settled down, and then Nate's start lying to her. It's this whole thing, and they get to reconcile over that, and she's so fucking pissed. And
this is in 4, yeah.
Yeah, this is in 4. So Nate's lying to her about him
too much.
No, I'm just saying going off on adventures.
Yeah.
And when they finally meet up later in the game, Elena basically says like, hey, I miss going on adventures too. Like, this isn't just for you. This was for me too.
Yeah.
So it's
not just your gig.
Yeah. It was very... I don't know, it was just very fucking real.
Anyway,
yeah.
How do we get onto that? So yeah, what did you think of the dynamic between Chloe and Nadine?
I loved it. I loved it so much. And like I said before, I always found myself like stopping the car and listening to their conversations because I wanted to hear more of their like bickering and their banter. And
I was worried I was going to interrupt it.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Although
I think you're gonna say exactly the same. So like, I jumped out of the car in the middle of what Nadine was saying once, and I'm like, fuck. I missed
classic
it.
game thing. You've interrupted it. There's no going back.
Yeah, like, and they were talking like about Nadine's history with her was Shoreline. Yeah, and I'm like, oh well, I've missed that. I guess I'm never gonna learn. And then I got back in the car after doing whatever I had to do, and then like Chloe said, all right, what were we talking about? I'm like, oh my god, this is the future of gaming.
I know, it's so good. They did that in Uncharted 4 as well. It's one of the best features in the game, especially this type of game. It's so amazing.
Yeah.
And they give you so much. Like, did you, in the open world section, how much did you all do?
I collected all the pieces.
All the discs?
Yeah.
You too?
Like, I did the first time, not this time, just because I had already done
cool. I got all the tokens too. Like, I couldn't help myself. It's so good hearing the dynamic develop when doing that.
Yeah, like, and there are sections, like, I will say there was one part where it gets interrupted, and if it gets interrupted, you can't go back, which is if it gets interrupted by another section of dialogue.
Oh, right.
And I was like, that happened once the first time I played the game, and I was so upset to the point where I paused the game and I immediately tried to YouTube it because I wanted to see what the end of that like little conversation was, but I couldn't find it.
Like
So
you know you've like done your characters well when like you get people like that with
Yeah.
you miss a conversation and you actively want to like you know go back and find it.
Yeah,
You
like
know, it's just something small.
it got to the point because I knew about that this time. Whenever any of them spoke, I immediately just stopped the car and just listened.
Yeah.
And it's just there's so many just good little moments between them which are not at all like necessary to forwarding the game, but it just helps build their repertoire between each other.
Absolutely. It's so. It just helps the world, It just helps create the sense that everything's real and these characters are real and they're just people trying to interact with each other. I've heard criticism of people saying that they didn't enjoy, they didn't think that the arc for Chloe and Nadine's relationship was good enough. Like it wasn't enough payoff.
When they fought about Sam, or
no, just the general arc of the game being like, they bond and then they fight about Sam, they reconnect, and then they're all chummy at the end. I've heard people say that they didn't feel like that was earned at the end, like they didn't connect enough for that to be what the ending was. I completely disagree.
I don't think like what was I gonna say?
I don't entirely disagree, only because I would have liked them to have more of a struggle which wasn't about a guy.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's not, because it's definitely not, but it was almost like the Bechdel test. What's the
you're right. It's like how many
guys they talk about together.
Yeah,
exactly,
in a playthrough.
Yeah, and like I think fundamentally Lost Legacy totally passes that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, yes, more so than almost any other game I've ever played.
Yeah, like apart from probably, I can't actually think of a section of Tomb Raider talking Lara Croft talking to another girl. But it's
no, they're
they're
in there, but
yeah,
yeah.
That's like another thing.
Yeah.
I just wish they had more of a bonding curve. Like
I agree, because they didn't.
Because like at the beginning, it's just like, "Hey, you're late. I'm sorry, I'm late." Yeah, and then they fight.
That's Nadine being pissy, which was sort of like the Nadine we know.
And I think that I think the fault of that is just this game was originally shorter than they intended to be.
Absolutely, they only had so much to work with. They only had so much space to work with. They couldn't make a full Uncharted game for this. They did their best.
I don't think it needed.
No, I agree. And like 8 hours, that's as long as the first game was, which was the shortest one.
And like I've written it down here as well. I think that because it was only 8 to 10 hours, like I never got tired.
Yeah,
it was never exhausting. Like though
you sort of feel that in 4, which is the longest one.
Yeah,
it gets to a point it's like I'm still playing this game.
So like
4 is long.
Before I think it's like chapter 8 or something. Before you're about to get on, like when you've got to take the helicopter down, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And like I just assumed that would be the end of the game. I just assumed it would be the end. Like it was, getting up to 8 hours. I'm like, all right, this is going to be it. And then when they were getting in the car and going to Strand, I just assumed that would be prelogue to like the second Lost Legacy or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, you thought that was going to be the cliffhanger?
Yeah, like I thought that was going to be it.
That's
right?
Interesting.
Lost the legacy.
Because like I don't know, I just did. It almost felt like
that was the arc.
And I was getting kind of tired at that stage. And so I think you have a bit to say about the train scene as well. So maybe we'll just leave it for that. But actually, apart from that, I never felt exhausted with it.
Yeah. Because you sort of started the game earlier. How much of the... Because Jeremy was telling me when you were up to like the Temple of Shiva, like chapter 7.
Yeah.
Did you like crush like chapters 4 to 10, like in one sitting?
Yeah. So I started. I played like 1 to. Yeah,
like
7. So, no, we got out. So it was like when we were. Once they left the city, and then I stopped.
Okay,
because I assumed that I would be up to like the last chapter. I was like, all right, I've got to go to bed, and then I played it in the next night. So I played it in two nights basically, 2 sittings.
Cool. And that's fair enough. That's cool. Yeah, it would be a struggle for that game to wear out its welcome, I think, unless you didn't ever stop playing it. But that would be like, how many games can you play for 8 hours and not get sick of them?
Yeah.
PUBG.
I think that there's one thing. It's still talking about this sort of this realm of tropes and stuff like that. One thing that annoyed me was that the way that Nadine and Chloe sort of connected with each other, but also were driven forward. Their main motivation, it was about their fathers.
Yep.
It was oh, my dad was obsessed with this and he let me down. It's it's like the daddy never loved me sort of thing. And the other one was like, I let my dad down and I've got to sort of make it up to him. I thought either of those things could have easily been
The
their mothers.
Yeah, like I was thinking that because it reminded me a lot of the Indiana Jones thing. I was thinking like this could have been like the reason Nadine is so badass and kick-ass is because this was how her mother was.
Yeah.
And I thought that would have been a cool.
That would have been so
like a cool role model for a young Chloe.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. And
yeah.
So yeah, like I was a little bit like, oh, it's.
It was a missed opportunity, I think.
Yeah.
And it could have been easily remedied. But although especially because the thing that got me with it was because we don't know anything about Chloe's backstory until the very start of this game. Not a thing about her parents, where she's come from, where she's lived, why she has her accent.
I was wondering that when she talked about her dad and about his fascination
That's
with the
all
tusk
this
and
game.
stuff. I was wondering
All this
if it had
game.
been touched on, but
Does she?
yeah.
Does she not mention at all Australia in Uncharted 2? Because I thought I remembered that, but I could just be misremembering.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I might be wrong, but I don't think so. And if it is, it's like
Like
one of those little. We're walking through the streets and it's a tiny.
Yeah.
One line of thing.
This reminds me of Sydney.
Yeah. Because I'm from Australia,
Yeah.
even though my accent is slightly British.
Yep.
I still don't see her as having British accent.
Yeah.
Really?
I really
serious? When I played the game, I did not realize she had an Australian accent.
It's one of the most British Australian accents I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that, yeah, but I still was like, oh yeah, she's totally Aussie.
Yeah, I
didn't get that at all.
Yeah. Okay, so we haven't talked about Sam and we haven't talked about Asav. So, but we don't really, they're not in it that much. What did you think of Asav?
He got better.
He did get better.
He felt very like righteous at the beginning.
I know.
He was very much like, I can't remember what to be.
And it's all about the blood of the ancient things and
yeah, like
one of my favorite parts of his story was he's like, you don't deserve this, and it's in the olden days we, saving people and showing mercy was a sign of weakness, and with these aqueducts would run red with blood.
He had some really good quotes.
Yeah. And then you finally get to when he's got the tusk, and he's just sold it for a bomb. It's like, what the fuck, man? What with all your righteous bullshit about showing that you're the true heir to the whatever the city was called, the Empire, and it's like, you're just an asshole.
Which is what I love, because every single righteous asshole dictator in the world has always been like a fucking fake.
Yeah.
And it's always like they will always sell out any bullshit that they spiel out for like a bigger weapon.
Yeah. It's always like, oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? It's glowing and it's amazing, and it's the heritage of the
It's the heritage of my people, which I will trade for this bomb.
It's like, it's a bomb. They're running a bomb into the city. They're just terrorists.
Yeah.
They're just terrorists. That's it. I love that.
Which was funny because when at the end when you do that section where Chloe changes the statues of Ganesh and
oh my god!
oh my
god! If we talk about that, I'll bawl my eyes out. That was so that was one of my favorite scenes. And I've got it written down because I really wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, we should definitely talk about it.
Like I just want to touch on the way Asav feels so like Ganesh is weak. He could have just killed, and then.
And he just doesn't get it.
Like when really and like Chloe says whatever, you really don't get it or whatever. But it's very much like an hour later, he's just like, all of that has just left his mind, and he's got this weapon so he can continue his fucking, like, bullshit righteous war.
Yeah, and he's failed like the test with the axe. So it doesn't matter. And when you're punching him up in the train, he's like, "Oh, it would have been perfect.
Yeah,
you've ruined my vision." It's like, dude, shut up. You're an idiot.
Yeah.
What about Sam?
What about Sam? What did you think of Sam coming in blind? Because Sam, you're introduced to Sam in 4. You don't know he exists until 4.
He was really just empty to me. Like, he just felt like nothing.
Because, his dynamic is all based on the dynamic of 4.
Yeah.
He's just this cheeky misfit who doesn't know well enough. He's he's a nice guy, but he's just...
It made for some really nice, some funny banter and stuff like that, but aside from that, it didn't really resonate with me.
Totally. It's a nice callback for people who have played Uncharted 4, and it is also that whole, this was the DLC for Uncharted 4.
And I'm so glad it wasn't Nate.
No.
It would have felt so fake if they just brought Nathan Drake in, it's the first game without Nathan Drake. Oh, actually, he's in it for the last third. Whereas Sam is only in 4. He's not in 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Do you hear about him in 1, 2, and 3?
No.
No, he doesn't exist until number 4.
Yeah.
Does Nate know he exists?
He's sort of
canonically,
retconned.
yes, but he never mentions
He's
it.
retconned into 4, basically.
And not in a way which felt forced. It felt like a pretty natural way.
They did it really well, but he doesn't exist until 4.
Yeah, Sam is very much... He's almost comic relief.
Yeah, that's what it felt like, honestly.
Yeah.
Which, I didn't hate. He didn't... He never...
It's also introducing another dynamic into the Chloe and Nadine thing. It's Chloe starting to play nice. No, being the parent and telling them to play nice.
But that also, like we were talking about before, feeds into, he's there to grow them as characters, which is not great.
Yeah. I'm just glad he doesn't take the spotlight away from them
That's
much.
True, yeah.
There's... for example, there's a section where you're about to fight the helicopter towards the end, and Orca is there, who's the dumb mullet.
The lieutenant from 4.
Yeah.
You mean Gideon Emery, who also voices Fenris?
What? Yes. Now we have to include the slurpy intro.
So there's a section where
that guy's voice just makes me think wow, you're an asshole.
Orca.
Yeah,
it's very dumb. Orca is a great terrible villain because he just looks fucked.
Yeah,
he's just there. You just look at him like, I want to kill you.
Leaning out, he's like, oh, I'm a villain. I think I'm right, and I'm real nasty and stuff.
And Sam makes a joke about his mullet. And Nadine laughs at the joke, and Sam immediately looks at Chloe and says, she gets it. Yeah. I thought that was, a good moment. That was probably one of Sam's best moments out of the probably 3 moments I can remember him having. The other one just being when they were like, hey, we need a car, and Sam looks at a guy wearing sunglasses, and the next minute they're driving the car.
And they're wearing
and Sam's wearing sunglasses. Yeah.
Oh, I get it. And just as we're talking about, I was just thinking about that. Just as we're talking about it, you know how they did that scene where they push the cart onto the end of the bridge and Sam's got to jump for it?
Yeah.
And then he jumps, he lands, he smashes the glasses.
He smashes the
He's had them for 5 minutes.
He just throws them away. He's really upset about it.
He's had them for 5 minutes and then he's so chuffed.
Yeah.
And they just get shattered and it's like, oh, fuck.
At the end...
That's classic.
He pulls out a fucking cigarette packet. It's like, how has he kept that in his pocket the entire time after climbing through water, and why is it still lighting?
Yeah, I know.
Sam is very much a little picture person. He never, which I think also reflects his character in 4, that he never really thinks much about anything that's larger than this little matchbox that he lives in.
Yeah. And that's that sort of reflects well with his very quick flip at the end, where he's like, this isn't our fight, we don't need to do that. And so Chloe immediately goes, I'm going. And he's like, yeah, alright.
He doesn't even say, you're right. He just sits in the car.
Yeah.
He's just like, okay, let's do this.
And then Nadine makes him get in the back seat.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's an alright character. It was fun.
He's a nice
He's a fun character. Yeah.
He adds a nice dynamic, I think.
Yeah.
Alright, okay. So how long have we been going for?
Probably too long.
That's nearly 40 minutes. I don't mind this being long.
Okay.
Do either of you mind how long this goes for?
No,
or?
no.
Okay, well, that's
I
fine
mean,
by
like,
me.
if I was listening to a podcast, I probably wouldn't listen to anything over 2 hours.
Yeah, no. We don't want to
cool.
go on that
Yeah.
long. Just a little aside, I looked up on YouTube, like, Game Club podcast. Some people started one up, like, 3 months ago. Like, just called Game Club Podcast. We could have had it.
Damn it, oh well.
And it's got all this nice logo stuff. It's like, fuck, we can't go anywhere near that now. I really should have read through these notes before I got here.
Cool Game Club podcast.
Cool Game Club.
Cool
Better
Game Club Podcast Inc.
Game Clubber.
You can't make references to Nick
Podcaster.
Robinson on our podcast. How dare you? Now no one will listen.
Ruby
You mean optional conversations?
Yeah.
Oh, there's plenty.
No, as in the triangle prompt ones.
Yeah,
no,
I only
there's
came across
plenty.
4.
There's more. You see it in statistics. It tells you how many you've got out of how many because they treat
Damn.
it like a collectible. There's
Right.
more.
Shit, alright.
Fine, I'll go play it for a third time.
And then there's just one last thing that I read there, which is when they're when they're with Sam as well, and Nadine does that callback to what Chloe said earlier, and says to Sam, "Relax, you'll live longer." Chloe says,
Yeah.
"I am so proud,"
I'm so proud.
and Sam's like, "What just happened?
Yeah.
What just happened?" All right. Let's talk about what gameplay mechanics now, or are we
Yeah.
talking about puzzles?
Well, I guess it's similar. So
Yep.
let's do gameplay mechanics and we can go into puzzles.
Yep. Okay. So, how did you find the combat in this game? And what difficulty were you playing on? Because I'm gonna
normal.
mention-
Playing on normal.
Cool.
I think me personally, I don't like shooters, which is why I don't like The Last of Us. And I kind of wish there was less of those scenes, and more
like spelunking.
So yeah, so I grew up on Tomb Raider.
Okay.
I played all the Tomb Raiders as a kid with my sister, and like they have a special place in my heart.
Awesome.
The new Tomb Raiders as well. So the old Tomb Raiders didn't have gunplay and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I was always kind of wishing that it was more of a Tomb Raider game than it was an Uncharted game. But I feel like it really did still feel like a Tomb Raider game to me.
That's great. That's good.
In their like character development and stuff like that, as well as their women characters, and even the climbing was very reminiscent.
Yeah, totally. That's it. There's this interesting cycle. Mark Brown mentioned in one of his videos that Tomb Raider inspired Uncharted, which inspired Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
What was I going to say about that?
You're talking about combat.
Combat. But it wasn't awful.
Okay.
I got through it.
Yep.
So
Did either of you treat it more stealthy than combat-y? Did you lean more one side than the other?
If I had, so I put it on the easy difficulty just because I'd already done it on normal.
Okay.
So thinking back to when I was on normal, I probably like stealth in games like this is almost like the thing you do first until you fuck up the stealth and then you just kill everyone.
Yeah.
And there's very rarely is there any point going back to stealth just because like I've broken stealth, like I messed up what I was going to do, which would have been cool, so I'm just gonna get through this section and now I'm in it.
like that's interesting to me because I had it so I did most of the scenes where I would stealth it until I fucked it up and then I'd hide and then wait for them to not see me. And
recommence stealth.
Yeah, I always recommenced it because I did not want to do the combat. Right,
Yeah.
I didn't want to do the combat.
Oh, that's fair enough. And the stealth has its own engaging loop.
Yeah,
as
it
well.
was really like I really enjoyed it. It was really satisfying. Especially like I always, especially the last bit with the helicopter. The way I sort of did that was hide in the bushes.
Yeah.
Wait for people to drop down, kill them, or get a sniper rifle. And then just like kill a couple and then jump back in the water. And then come back up again and then and that's basically how I did that. But
that'd be so terrifying for those soldiers. What the fuck?
but honestly, I had to like recommence it like maybe 8 to 10 times.
Yeah.
Just because.
Well, that last one is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's so many enemies.
I did a couple of the combat scenes and not doing stealth, like especially at the start. And I struggled with it.
Yeah.
All that train scene as well, I struggled with because there's no stealth in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. I played on hard.
Yeah.
Because I platinumed 4, and when I was playing through the what's the... It's called the Nathan Drake collection.
Yeah.
When I was playing through the remasters, I played those on hard too, because I played them already. This game is not fun on hard.
No, it's not.
It's just not fun. Like, there's a bunch of instances, all of the scenes where it's supposed to be, like, exciting and fun, like, when you're running across the rooftops at the start, when you're running away from the APC in, like, the ruins, and it's, like, shooting at you, when you've got to, like, C4 the APC before you can move on, that scene with the helicopter, none of those are fun when you go down after 5 shots.
That scene where the APCs, when you're in where the tower is, right, and the APCs like following you everywhere, you have to get away. Hated that. Yeah. I died so many times.
I know.
I can't even imagine what that was like on hard, because it was ridiculous.
It sucked because, like, you had to. It just seemed like an area that needed to be tested more. You know, because just.
Like, I actually felt the same about the helicopter part. Like, I have no feelings towards the helicopter part. And even, like, putting it on easy and actually end up doing that achievement you mentioned where you don't kill anyone and just kill the helicopter.
There's a trophy to take down the helicopter without killing anyone else.
It's actually not... It's, like, you can do the achievement on easy.
I feel like you wouldn't know about that if you have to play it first, right?
Yeah. But, like, it was... So all I did is pick up as many C4 as I could, ran under the helicopter, kept throwing them, and eventually I just blew it up.
Them all at once.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, that was it. Because I did it a few times where I tried to, like, maneuver my way around it, and I'm just like, I'm just not enjoying these... Like, it's different to The Last of Us, because The Last of Us, you have so limited weapons and ammo and, like other equipment, so, like, I feel like there's more... It feels more like Battlegrounds.
Totally, there's way more tension.
Yeah, like I just feel more tense when I played that on the hardest difficulty.
Yeah.
Whereas Uncharted, because there's just like...
It's just like hit scanning. It's a shooting gallery.
Yeah, it's literally just like there are people around me and I have a gun and I can just tap the left trigger to aim in on them and then fire the gun.
Totally. And the higher up you go in difficulty, the less time you can pop out safely and the more time you need to spend in cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem with games like that, and Gears of War and all games like that where you regenerate health after waiting for a time, and all the enemies that have hit scan weapons. Like that's a big issue with that.
Like, and you find a silenced pistol, you've beaten the next section.
Oh, I love that silenced pistol.
It's very, very
First
good.
silenced pistol in the series.
So I never used it. Like,
really?
I came across it a bunch of times. I never used it.
Yeah.
It's like you can just go through a whole section just using
really
silenced
helpful
pistol.
for stealth. Yeah.
There was one more section. So when you're in, I don't remember quite where it is, but there's a section where there's like 2 levels in a temple, and there's a bunch of guys that you have to kill, and I spent the entire time going up to the second level and just landing on them and punching them, and then going back up to the second level, then landing on them and punching them, just because that feels really good.
Oh, it feels amazing.
I only did it like maybe twice, and the first time I just jumped like directly down, and the second time...
such an aggressive move.
Yeah, like the second time I didn't, like, I was like, oh, let's just see how this goes, because it was quite a fair distance from where I was like jumping from, and it was like straight up just like jumped like 10 meters and like lands on
Superman into his fucking head.
Oh, I love those moments every time it happens. It's always really disappointing when I try for it and it doesn't quite work. And I just like land beside them and I'm like, oh!
There's a bunch of stuff in that helicopter scene where I would try and be stealthy and then like something about like climbing would muck up and then they'd see me and I'd have to go like it was a pain in the ass, but I think that's probably more on me than it was on the mechanics of the game.
Like the line of sight seems a little inconsistent.
Yeah.
With like there'll be someone on the other side of the map who will notice me, but like the person who's right under me won't.
Yeah.
So like there'll be a lot of times where I feel like I shouldn't have been noticed, and times where I probably should have been. But I've noticed that in every Uncharted game.
Totally.
It's definitely got better. Uncharted 1 and 2 and 3 are rough with their shooting. It's just like it's the Last of Us thing of
those are real shooting galleries.
Yeah, like it's better in Last of Us, but it's just those sections of like, oh, I'm in an area with a lot of chest-high walls. I wonder what's going to happen
Yeah,
here.
and if you pass through it, you know that the door's going to be locked and you're going to have to turn around and fight them.
Yep.
Or if you pass through the whole thing, you know you have to get and come all
Yeah,
the
you
way
have to
back.
come all the way back and go through it again.
I felt the same in this game. You know when there's the area with the mirrors and you gotta and like Nadine becomes one of the statues, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah.
As you get up to that area, like all of the pillars have like fallen down. It's like, oh, look at all of these chest high walls.
These are really nice vaulting height
Yeah.
pillar, like the way they've landed.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
really interesting.
That's interesting.
See, I think maybe because I haven't played many shooters, I didn't see that.
Well,
coming.
that's
Right,
good. That's
okay,
good. Yeah, it's really easy when you've played these games to understand like the language, the visual language of this. Oh, now that I've said visual, how fucking beautiful is this game?
Yep.
How amazing! And like when you're looking at Chloe's phone, which I loved the whole mechanic of that, and you've like been in the fight, and Chloe's fingers are fucked up, and like and Chloe's hair on the back of her neck, and I love these games. They are hands down the most beautiful games I've ever played. 4 and this game.
I
as
think
well.
this is honestly the prettiest game I've ever played.
I know.
Honestly,
It's
I have a bunch of notes on which go into my favorite scenes. If we're going to talk about that, the giant statue of Shiva when you walk in,
the one with the hands in the water.
In the city of Belur.
Belur? Yeah.
And leading up to that, when from the start, when you find the city, like every single room is beautiful and breathtaking, and then you get to this one, it's like, how can it top anything? And it's this beautiful thing that like you can take a photo of it, but it doesn't become. You can't have the same feeling as walking around and looking at all the detail on every single like all inches of it.
Yep.
And the water and like everything about it.
Yep.
It was probably one of the best, the prettiest thing I've ever seen in a game ever.
I totally agree.
Yeah, like going through it again. It didn't give me obviously I'd already seen it, so I wasn't like, oh my god, this is nothing like I've ever seen before, because I'd literally seen it before. But it was like it gave me kind of more appreciation for some of the sections which I not glossed over, but just like oh, I didn't notice that this section over here.
Take it in.
You can't notice everything all at once, so like going back to it again, there's just even more appreciation for details.
Totally.
Like the way the grass moves under when you're driving through it.
Yeah.
Just like the little things of, the leaving mud on a rock you drive over after you've driven in mud.
Yep.
It's it's very, very well put together.
This is hands down, even more than Uncharted 4. I didn't do it anywhere. I think Uncharted 4 goes for nearly twice as long as this game. And I used the photo mode half as much as I used it in this one. I took so many screenshots of in-game and photo mode screenshots. I just don't understand. I just don't understand how this game, how games like this can happen.
How did they get the world and then put it on a disc?
I think I was very impressed throughout the entire game, but especially that room in particular really wowed me, thinking about how many people had worked on this particular room, right? From designers and artists and programmers, it blows my mind.
Yeah.
It, absolutely. How long did they spend on just this room?
I know. I know. The one scene that I keep remembering is it's after you, and now that I'm mentioning this, I'm like, it's the whole other bit. When you're swinging across the statues of Ganesh and Shiva just after the open world bit, and it's just at the dam.
Yeah.
So you're climbing up them, and then you've got to go in through the hole in the top.
Is that when they're fighting? As in the two statues?
Yeah, so you drop down the hole, and there's the one with the axe and the one on the... That's the one scene I'm thinking of right now where it's like, whoa, because the statues are so detailed.
It's huge as well.
So well lit. And you get to see the contrast of Nadine and Chloe in this chamber on these two giant figures. Oh, it was astounding. Astounding.
And even, as you were saying, June, that section when you're with the statue of Shiva and all the arms are moving, it's beyond just having really high poly, well made art assets. it all functions as a thing you have to get through. Like, you literally have to work through the entire section of it and move it and manipulate it.
Yeah.
And then the water then will flow through it, and then you have to go through the water section.
Yeah.
And then there's you swing across to the other section with the mirrors.
There's so much in it, and
Yeah.
so much detail in it. I can't put it in my mind how it could come from like a concept a sketch to a grey box to that.
I know.
It doesn't
I know. Pass through the hands of dozens of people
Yeah.
and come out in this one holistic vision that is so well realised. I totally understand what you're saying.
It's great. It's like it boggles my mind.
I know. I remember when we were in class after I played Uncharted 4, and I just said, I can't remember what it was, a question or something, and it was like, after playing this game, it's like, and doing like the lessons that we've been doing this narrative stuff, it's like, how do games happen like this? How does it happen?
Hundreds of people, and then on the production side, coordinating all of those hundreds of people at once, all working simultaneously. But you know, if you do it well enough,
I know,
you get Lost Legacy.
Here
So,
you go.
Yeah. What else have I got about the art? Do I have anything else? How the Indian city at the start felt.
Do you mean the prologue or or like the
run on the
bit?
rooftops and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I really, I guess this probably has to do. No, let's go back here. There was a scene in, I think it was Asav's office, so like his antique room.
Yeah. It's just
Like when you walk in, it's raining and you see on one side peaceful city.
Yeah.
And you know, behind the glass,
really?
and then
I
on the
didn't
other
notice this.
side
It's
you see
just war-torn.
Yeah, you see the burnt city.
Wow.
And it's like that was like beautiful and
That's amazing.
pretty, and the rain was like falling
The
down.
rain on the
and it was-
windows
yeah.
and like the lamp lighting.
Yep, it was like really beautiful.
Yeah.
That and so that was one of my favorite scenes as well as when you walk up, when you're about to meet Nadine on the rooftop of the Pink Lotus, I think it's called, and you push through the clothes.
Yeah, I was
and then you see the bombs fall in the city. Oh my god! Like
I know. I really loved that scene, that whole area after you meet up with Nadine, you're climbing around, because I was saying this a bit to Jeremy when he finished it. It was what I loved about that is that sort of a realization. It takes, there's a very similar scene in Uncharted 2 where you're climbing around in Nepal on neon signs, except it's daytime, and it's also made 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So this scene where it's night, all of these neon signs are lit up, it's raining, and it's in this beautiful engine on this wonderful hardware. It was like, wow, this is... I thought it was great the first time, really neat. It was stunning playing it in this setting.
I kind of wish... I know that you got a lot of time to sort of walk around. Not really, actually, now that I think about it. Not on the rooftops. But
Yeah, no, there was maybe about 20, 25 minutes with Nadine before you get to the office.
That's true, but oh yeah, that's true. Okay, so I kind of wish there was a lot of the time where once Asav's after you, you kind of can't focus on that anymore because you know you have bullets
you got to
raining down
run.
on you,
It's
and
all
I
about
kinda,
these bullets. You gotta
yeah,
run.
I kind of wish there was more time to just like chill out and like run around on the roofs and do more puzzles and stuff up there. But I suppose it's like, you know, the first chapter of a game with.
Well,
it's set in a completely different setting after that, so...
Yeah, and it's also like, it's like a rushed combat section, similar to like the ending, you know, like the section when you're driving around chasing after the train, or when you're on the train, you know, like that area for what little you really... Because, you know, sections go past in
there
seconds.
to run through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and those sections that you see in seconds are like still amazing looking, even you just, you know... You'll go past them at like 100 kilometers an hour, and they'll still look phenomenal. It's, you know, it's just a...
That's what I found. Was when I first started playing, when you first get the car and you start driving around in the jungle, and I kind of felt like I don't really want this car, like, because I want to appreciate everything, and they've put so much work into this game, I kind of don't want to be driving around at 60 kilometers per hour and not seeing. But I appreciated it in the end, I think.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think you learn to appreciate the car when Nadine takes the car and you're left without it.
Yep. Yeah. That's
And then I'm like, oh, this section is really big, and Chloe walks kind of slowly, especially after like...
You can't run.
Well, like there's no sprint. It's just
default jog.
Yeah.
Just run,
You can roll. but that's not faster than running.
Yeah,
or
it's like
strolling.
going through Hyrule and Ocarina of Time.
We got off track.
Gameplay. Puzzles.
Yeah, so puzzles. And I think in this I also want to include the open world section.
Can I start?
Yeah, go, please.
So because I haven't played Uncharted before, because they came from Tomb Raider, I know Uncharted is not as puzzly as Tomb Raider, but I did want more puzzles. I really did want more puzzles. I felt like the puzzles that, the 11 puzzles that you got before you could get the little tokens weren't good enough. Like, they just weren't challenging enough, I suppose.
Pretty simple.
They weren't really... Like, they were barely puzzles.
Yeah, they were barely puzzles.
Although I did like...
It was like a mini-game.
I did like the physics one where you had to, like, hook the
that was
lid
cool.
on the well and like jump on the thing.
Mine
awesome.
kind of like was a bit funny with
it was
that.
A bit glitchy.
Yeah, it was a bit glitchy because the rope didn't go around and then it sort of put itself around it.
Okay.
It sort of was a bit funny like that, but it took me a while to realize what you had to do. But more puzzles in that aspect would have been really good.
Yeah,
or just like more variety of puzzle.
Totally.
Yeah,
there was a lot of the rings puzzles.
I really do like that ring puzzle though, especially how the horse one, when you had to. I realized no one can see my hands. Yeah, I realized no one can see my hands, but like, you've got to try and get the pieces in and out.
Yeah.
And spin it around. That took me a while.
I think that was the first one I found in that open world area. So that was really nice. That was good.
But I kind of wish, like, so when I play a game like that, I spend about maybe half an hour on it. If I can't figure it out, I'll look up a guide for it because
that sounds reasonable.
Don't like spending too long on those sort of things.
Yeah.
But I was so determined to do it because it was such a cool puzzle and stuff like that I spent maybe half an hour on it.
Yeah.
Didn't have to look it up.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's quite a methodical puzzle too.
Yeah.
Because I kind of once I figured out how it all worked, I was like, oh, okay, so I'm gonna have to move this one over there to do that. So I sort of saw all the steps in my head. It's such a slow puzzle though.
It is.
So it was just kind of nice to just go with the pace of it.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm in this open space, I'm getting this nice optional, I don't even know what I'm going to get, it was the first one I found, I'm just doing this thing.
So, like, while I kind of wish there were more puzzles, I think, in terms of, like, the big ones, so, like, the shadow ones that you had to do and stuff like that, I think the difficulty of those were good.
Yep.
I don't like the shadow puzzle.
You didn't like the shadow puzzle?
I did not like it the first time, and I didn't like the second time.
We're talking about the one where you got to, like, tilt the thing and makes the two shadows on the wall.
I didn't like that because I didn't, like, I got it, I knew how to do it the entire time, it was just about getting it, and I didn't, like, it was one of the things where it wasn't hard to figure out, it was just like, oh yeah, this is how this puzzle works.
Yeah.
It felt more of a chore than, aha.
Okay.
It was just like...
I found myself, like, having to think about it.
Yeah, I started, like, looking at the grid, and I was like, okay, this is in the right spot when it's along this road, but it needs to be out of the way for this one to be.
Yeah,
I kind of enjoyed the mechanism of it.
Right.
Yeah,
like,
I did.
Like, it didn't connect with me at all.
Well, you're wrong, Jeremy.
Yeah, I know. No, that's fair.
I liked it better than I liked the jumping puzzle.
Which jumping puzzle?
So the one we had to jump off the platforms with the big
swinging axes and the...
Oh, yeah. They were just a little bit awkward. A little bit.
Yeah, that was a lot more trial and error, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
You still could see
I think it was a bit
forward.
boring also.
Yeah, because it's either you get it wrong and you're dead, or you get it right and you win.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, do you die if you mess it up?
No, you just...
Oh, no, that's right, you just get knocked down.
Yeah, but it's annoying having to go all the way back again, and then...
Especially when you fall so far
and then
down.
Nadine's like, do you want a hint? I'm like, no, I know how to do it.
But someone to do game.
And yeah, I don't know, I feel like there was nothing really intuitive in that. But yeah, if I compare it to Tomb Raider, which is what I've been doing this entire game.
Sure, go on. It's an apt.
I just maybe not the newer Tomb Raiders, but maybe the older Tomb Raiders because they focus more on puzzles. But I think it sort of lacked in terms of puzzles.
Yeah, there wasn't much that was deep, and there never really is.
Yeah.
The deep puzzles are all it's like the ongoing narrative. That's all about like how the disc unlocks, and that's all cutscene based. You know, that's like you get to the end and that unlocks the overall puzzle, but that's all cutscene. That's all characters figuring it out on their own. It's all intellectual and
yeah, like I think I would have appreciated it would have appreciated all the puzzles if they all kind of linked up at the end. Kind of like a final test of like combining the puzzles somehow.
Ooh.
Like
what I really liked, I guess that's kind of related, is how all the puzzles related to the culture, especially the I'm really sorry, the elephant the Ganesh statue at the end, and how he yields, and and that's the that's the puzzle. Even though it's like really self-explanatory because you've seen him yield, but like having to physically move all his arms down to yield, it's like it got me. It got me real good.
Yeah. That was fun. Yeah, there's always a scene like that where the villains got them, and it's like, now you're gonna work for me, and you're gonna die or something, and you're gonna suffer, and there's some twist. It's like you don't get it, or something explodes and they run away or something. So,
I think it was more. What got me more was the fact that culture was so interlaced with
totally, and they made it accessible for people who didn't understand. Which is
sorry.
They made it. Not that it necessarily needed to be accessible, but I didn't feel like I was. I didn't feel like there was any appropriation of the culture.
No, not at all.
But they also didn't try and intellectualize it too much. It was really respectful, but not too deep word. What am I thinking of? Integration with the gameplay, with the story, with the characters. It was really good. It did seem strange to me that it seemed like such a motivating factor for Chloe when it hadn't been in the past. If that makes any sense, it was quite sudden. It was for this game.
Yeah, see, I obviously didn't have any of that, so
it all worked well.
It worked really well for me.
That's good.
I almost in some ways I almost feel like this Chloe is different to Chloe in Uncharted 2.
I agree.
I think Chloe at Lost Legacy is better than Chloe in Uncharted 2.
I also agree.
But it was almost like these could have just been brand new characters, but they chose familiar faces to kind of get you to buy into it. Which is fine.
And because it's an Uncharted game, it needs to be about the characters when it's this far down the line. Until they maybe reboot it,
in 10 years.
Yeah, in 10 years. So I mean, I don't really think there's much more about the puzzles, really. There wasn't much. It's just kind of climbing, which was fine. The climbing, everyone sort of rags on the climbing for being like press forward and press X.
There was a little bit more to it in this, but it was pretty much that.
I don't mind it being linear though. I don't mind you doing a thing because you feel badass when you're jumping and you throw the rope while you're midair and it's fun. It's cathartic. It's really tactile. I find, and I don't mind it at all.
Yeah.
Can I go back quickly to the mechanic of throwing the pick at the wall?
The piton.
Yeah.
Yep.
How do you say it?
Sorry, one more time?
I assume it's French. I don't know. It's the
piton.
Piton.
Oh, I thought you were making the sound it makes when it chinks into the wall.
No, because that's like a.
Yeah, no, I thought you were piton.
Anyway, about that, right? They do it as well in Tomb Raider, and I feel like they do it a lot better.
With the picks, that's right, yeah.
I feel like they do it a lot better in Tomb Raider.
Okay.
There's a couple of scenes where you have to jump, as in Uncharted, where you have to jump from a ledge and fling
land
it.
With that, yep.
There were so many times where it didn't work and I fell.
Yep.
Oh, really?
So many times.
I
And it just got me so frustrated.
Yeah.
Which is weird because the same mechanic is in Uncharted 4.
Yeah, they introduced it in 4 to sort of spice up the climbing.
Yeah.
As you get towards the end.
And I had much more difficulty getting it in this game than 4, which I thought was really weird.
I wonder if they just slapped it in there. Maybe they didn't get to test the levels as much.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did you find that you were jumping and not realizing you had to use it before?
No.
Okay,
so
that's good.
I always saw it in advance and knew that I had to press it, but I'd press square and it just
That's
do
lame.
it.
Yeah.
That's lame.
Or I would time it wrong, or the timing would be very fiddly.
Yeah,
it got to the point where I would just mash square.
Yeah, I would try to mash square.
Yeah, me too. They make it really obvious in the new Tomb Raider games too. When you
Yeah, they do, and I feel like every time that happened in Tomb Raider, I never really felt like.
And so it wasn't frustrating.
Yeah, it wasn't frustrating to me. What was I going to say about the punching, especially on the train? Asav in the last scene where you're punching him and you have to block over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Bad. Really bad.
Yeah.
Hated it. I was like
So
mashing
you block like one other time in the game?
Yeah, I know. The tutorial for that is when you're fighting near the aqueduct, basically.
Yeah.
But like, you know, the entire time I was mashing circle to try and block, and he'd still hit me.
Yeah, that's because they say at some point, like, time your dodges.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I could have probably done that better.
I don't think there was enough telegraphing of when they wanted me to time the
and they do that. They do scenes like that. There's a very similar end battle for Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
Where it's attack and dodge. But they do that to avoid the boss battles because the combat in these games is shoot enemies or shoot tankier enemies or shoot tankier enemies. So it's to avoid that scenario.
Or choke them out.
Or what?
Or choke them out.
Exactly. So it's to avoid that. It's to make it a bit more dynamic, a bit more personal. And it's not.
The boss battle's just banging their dead.
Yeah, it's not perfect.
But
then when you what I loved about that scene was after when you get him on the back foot, you just start kicking his ass.
Roll
you
into
just
him.
Fuck him up.
Oh shit! Yeah, I wrote a lot of notes.
Up against the bomb.
Yeah.
Before you go into that though, I wanted to say that I think you're right. I think it was. I don't think his actions were big enough to know that I should block at this stage.
Totally, they were really quick. It was like
they were really quick,
oh!
And a lot of the time, like I didn't know whether I should be hitting him while Nadine was hitting him, because there'd be a stage where I'd just be standing there and Nadine would be like rolling into him, and I'd just be like, "Do I hit him now?" And then when I tried, he'd hit me. I'm like, "Well, I didn't know."
Yeah.
So that was really frustrating to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because that's almost a quick time event sort of cutscene. Yeah. Almost.
Like it almost could have benefited from the buttons actually appearing on the screen.
Yeah, from being that more clear cut.
Just to give the fluidity of the cutscene to.
Because that's what they're going for, right? They want you to feel pumped and like, oh, I'm gonna go fuck this guy up. They want you to jump in there and try and attack.
I did not at all.
And
I felt
because you
weak
have the
and
agency
gross.
to do that. Totally.
Yeah.
Like especially because like that's like they want the boss battle cutscene to be similar to the traversing, like the jump off this ledge, throw the line onto the like grapple across and then land on the other ledge, then jump across and grapple and then jump across again, and it's all like it's almost like one continuous motion of just doing the next thing and the next thing and the next thing.
Yeah.
This was very like it was just a bit clunky. Apart from towards the end, like and at the very end, you just kind of lay into him.
Oh, God,
like my notes here is like literally, it leads into beating the shit out of Asav while he keeps going on about his purity cleansing quest. I enjoyed every single punch and kick that Chloe and Nadine laid into him.
Oh, that was so good. All right. Okay, before we do that, my bladder is about.
Yeah, I'm also really need to pee really bad.
Okay, so we'll pause the recording.
Can I go first?
Okay, that's good because I don't know where I'm going anyway. So.
Did you want to talk about the train scene?
I really want to talk about the train scene.
We can talk about the train scene.
I'd love to talk about the train scene.
I would also like to talk about the train scene.
Okay.
So the train scene.
Okay, so you take down the chopper. You have this moment with Orca, who's a complete shithead. You pick up the tusk. It's so glowy. It's so nice.
You kill Mullet.
Did you kill him? I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Nadine fucking executes him. That's right.
Did we put a spoiler warning at the start of this?
No, but like if we're doing a game club, the idea is that you've played along, and if you're watching this, the idea is you've played along, so we can all talk about all the bits that.
Yeah. You played the game with us.
Yeah,
and then we all talk about it.
This is a bit of a one-off, because obviously it's the first one, and we have no platform and whatever. Don't listen to this if you haven't played Uncharted: The Lost Legacy.
Don't listen to this period.
An hour and a half in. Just letting you know.
Hopefully you skip to 1 hour 22 minutes to hear that first.
To be fair, we haven't mentioned how the game very ends. The very, very ending.
Suppose so.
That's true. That's
yeah,
true.
that's
How
fair.
they all go off the cliff, and the last shot is just a tangled mess of blood and bones.
And then Chloe wakes up and it was all a dream.
Chloe's 8 years old,
Yeah.
and her dad's there. Okay, so you get in the car and you drive. Now, this scene was slightly ruined for me when Blocktober came around, because they showed this scene in Greybox.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on Twitter, and I was like, that wasn't in Uncharted 4, and so I saw Sam in the back, which ruined that Sam was in the game, and I was like, oh, when they jump on the train. Oh, okay, cool. But even when I knew that stuff was there, So, for context, for all you Uncharted newbies out there, one of the best...
Me.
Yeah. One of the best set pieces / scenes in Uncharted, all Uncharted, is in Uncharted 2, when Chloe's, like, trapped on the train, a damsel moment, turns out. Although, no, because she turns the tide, she's like, I didn't want you here, go the fuck away. Anyway, Chloe's on the train, you're going after her, you jump on this train, and it's this whole moving train sequence where you're jumping on top of the carriages, and it's going through the Himalayas, and it goes through a tunnel, and a helicopter chases you, and it's shooting carriages off the train, and then as it keeps going, you go into the Alps, and it's snowy, it's this whole thing. It's wonderful. It's one of the best scenes. And they went back to the train. They did it again, and they did it even more, like, dynamic, with jumping off of the train onto cars.
So, did you like it?
I loved it.
Okay.
I loved it so much. I loved that there was no cutscene to get onto the train. You know, you just drove the car up to it, and then you jumped on, and then it was happening. It was so reminiscent. They did, like, the start section, because you're on foot for a lot of it, for the start, where you're going through, you're jumping out, you're trying to be stealthy, you're trying to pull people off the roof and go through, and then it gets hectic, and you're trying to shoot things, and then the cars turn up. It's just something so satisfying. It's just raw adrenaline. You know, it's like watching Speed, the movie. It's just everything.
As opposed to the drug.
Yeah, it's watching a pill on the table. It's so... Let me gather my thoughts for a moment. There's something about it, because it's so non-stop, because it's so kinetic, you know, it's just momentum, without stopping. You're just going forward. You get discovered, that's fine, you shoot them. You jump off the roof, you're smacking someone else. You climb around the side, you're pulling people off.
See, I almost like...
You don't like Speed? With Keanu Reeves?
Or the pill?
I don't watch movies.
Don't watch Speed.
I didn't dislike the train scene, but I didn't enjoy it. I don't think.
Sure.
Because it was non-stop, and because it seemed never ending.
Okay.
And
It's a long ass train.
it is a long train, and yeah, it was just exhausting. I was just exhausted.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't know. It's my opinion.
No, that's fine. I think what got me the most about it, because it was like, oh my god, they went back and they did this bit, that's great. And then they iterated on it. Then they included the cars and the grapple hook.
I really, really, really liked how you had to jump off the cars to get further ahead.
Yep.
The other thing that I really, really, really liked was when you're trying to get to Nadine again on the train, and you instantly know what you have to do.
I know,
there's that
it's
platform,
like, how am I going to get here?
There's
look
that
at
platform
this rock.
straight ahead. It's like, there we go.
I know, it was so fucking good, and you just plow into it.
And it's never like suggested that you should jump off. It's she just says
and
that
it's so fucking seamless.
Yeah.
You seamlessly crash into that carriage as if like it could have been any carriage that you crashed into, but that one is the one that the game, allowed you to go to.
Yeah, and it's the one that's scripted for you to like climb out of as the car falls out. And...
I still have no fucking idea how they do it.
I know.
Like it's similar to there's the part where you have to change the tracks.
Yeah,
sort of in the middle of that bit, you have to change the tracks.
Which I loved also.
Yeah.
You jump in a car and just drive away from the train.
Yeah.
Whoa.
How's it go?
Whoa. And then Sam comes along and it's like, oh, hey, how's it going? It's like, great. Perfect.
That's right. And then he asked, like, shouldn't we just leave her on the train, Nadine?
Yeah.
And I was like, you idiot.
Yeah.
You absolute fool.
Like,
I thought you were better than
this isn't our fight. And he's like, yeah, all right.
And that part I thought felt out of character for Sam.
I was saying we should just ditch.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is sort of, but...
It was totally not what I thought Sam was like throughout the game.
I mean, he's sort of just wanting it to end, I think, and like you don't see that in Uncharted 4 because like that whole game is about his obsession, and it's also about his brother. So there is no cop out moment for Sam in Uncharted 4 because that's when he's like, I'm gonna find this treasure, and you're coming with me or you're not.
Well, but
and in this one, he's like, come on, let's just call it a day, can't we?
Like for me, it made sense obviously because I haven't played the other ones again.
And that's most of what you see of Sam.
Yeah, and he's always sort of expressed his disinterest in Nadine, and so him saying like, "Why do we have to get rid of it?" It makes sense.
Like,
to me.
I didn't see it as him sort of saying like, "I don't care about Nadine," but the way that he was totally on board with what Chloe was about to do.
Yeah.
When he just got in the train, got in the car with Chloe immediately.
And then double back.
Yeah, and then double backed on it. That's what I thought was weird.
That's fair enough. I see that.
But he did say
flip-flop.
he did say that like he didn't really want to do it before he got in the car though. Like he did say, do we, are
Also
you
a good
serious?
point.
Like,
you know that there is a hesitancy.
Yeah, there's already hesitancy there.
I don't know. It just felt more like I think I would have enjoyed it more if, like, I don't know, like not enjoyed it more, but it would have been more in tune with Sam's character at that point if he had like said like we got to go save the tusk or whatever.
Yeah.
Wait, no, does he? He's got the tusk at that point.
Yeah, they have the tusk.
Oh yeah, they have
Sam's got the tusk.
Yeah, they've already got the tusk. Okay, yeah.
Because it's about stopping the bomb.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it was just a great. I really enjoyed how seamlessly it integrated the on-foot sections on the car, which was lots of platforming and jumping, with the grappling hook alongside the train.
That was very fun.
That was awesome, right? The cars going alongside.
I did like that when you had to jump onto the one with the big machine gun on it.
Yeah.
And you had to just like rip into like the entire train
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
other guys
yeah,
on the side. That was
just
very
fuck it
cool.
up.
Yeah.
I got really confused in that section because you know how you run into a train where you can't keep going forward.
Yeah.
And like they destroy the walls. I didn't think to go back. I was like, I'm supposed to shoot them or something or throw grenades, and I was just like running around in this box. I was just like a trapped rat with these walls slowly disintegrating. I'm like, I'm dead.
Like I thought the section was good. I thought there was too much. I think there was too much cover shooting. In a train that's moving that fast, like I feel like it should have been like more just run and
more punching and kicking
like,
out of windows.
You can still have the machine gun and fire, but like don't have cover. But
there was a lot of that.
Don't feel like you ever need cover. Like you just have firing from the hip as you're running, and the bullets will become more accurate in that section, just to let all the enemies fly past.
You like go into it with a sense of urgency, and then the first thing you do is have to hide behind cover and take your time. It's
yeah, like
it
just felt off a little bit. Like it got better towards the end. When you're jumping off the train.
Yeah.
There's the part where you're hanging on the side of the train and you got to dodge the metal like.
See that I found that so confusing.
The claws that are coming.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what they are.
Because they hadn't done any of that in the entire game. So like when that came at me, it doesn't give you much time. It's like
that was
all right, I'm dead.
Uncharted 2 because there is that section in Uncharted 2. You're on the side of the train. You got to make sure you're up or you're down. I still got fucked even though I sort of knew what was happening.
Yeah.
Still clipped me. But you're right. They didn't signpost that. That was brand new.
I mean, like it didn't take long to get the hint. Obviously, you die like once or twice. You're like, oh, I see. But also like.
And then the final one, it like rips off the side of the train. Then you have to climb up that piece of bent metal, which is still,
very cool.
Like it's all of that kind of like the heavily scripted stuff is what I think that section should have been more about.
Okay. Yeah.
Similar to in Madagascar when you tie the like.
I had thought of the movie.
Like what?
It's a location in the fourth game.
I was like the Madagascar game.
I was so confused.
I didn't realize that was so important.
Similar to the shuffleboard in the Madagascar
it's
video.
like when Ben Stiller the Lion says.
Fuck. Shit. The section in Madagascar when you're in the car and you tie the you tie the rope around the tree.
Oh, and the rock falls.
Yeah, like and the rock falls and then you swing. Like that whole section is like you're not in control pretty much.
No, it is heavily scripted.
Yeah, and that was one of my favorite sections of Uncharted 4.
And it's one of the best parts of this train scene as well. Where it's the moments. It's scripted when you have to jump off the train. It's It's
It's
they've
scripted
prepared
when
a
you-
moment for you. They've prepared a hook for you to be able to do this cool swing from hook to
and
card
to like drive into the train and stuff. Like
Yeah,
all of
and-
that stuff was the best
and-
part of the sequence.
and push the. You're right. All the scripted stuff was so good.
As the train falls into the canyon and you're running off it,
And you're running backwards.
yeah, that was almost a fucking love letter to Crash Bandicoot.
right?
Yeah.
It was totally that, which, like, I loved running off the
I
train.
know, I loved it. And then the camera switches when you jump to the next one, which is good, so you can see in front of you. Because I was like, all right, this is cool. The reason they stopped doing this is because it really sucks. 'Cause you
Yeah.
can't see where you're going. Now I can see. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh god, it was good.
The part on the train to go back before it falls off the cliff,
Yeah.
where you have to climb around the front of it, and you're climbing like on like the engine carriage around the front of the train to get up to the top to the front hatch is like holy fuck.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know. It was cool.
Yeah,
That was
I
really
know.
cool as well.
I really liked it, and I really liked. I know, and I know you're saying there was some gripes with the Assad fight, but I really did enjoy the arc of that particular fight with Asav. Because he's been strong and whatever, and he's throwing his glasses off. He's like, "Oh, I'm pissed and I'm angry, and you've ruined everything."
His
And
perfectly kept hair is now messy.
yes, he's got 2 strands down.
Is it
the
okay
side
if I
of
say
his
this on a
face.
podcast? But he's very attractive.
He dead set.
Yeah, like
yeah,
like daddy a little bit.
Yeah, like he looked like a Cara Dune Dream Daddy. He straight up looks like a Cara Dune Dream Daddy, but just like
because he's slightly
very
buff and looking smart.
He's very buff, but like
Mean daddy.
he'd give me a cuddle,
No.
but then trick me out,
Yeah.
and I might enjoy it.
He was. He was quite choke happy in this game.
He was, wasn't
Quite
he?
happy to choke.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
That's
cool
alright.
how like big he was, but not outrageously so. Like he wasn't crazy big, and he was that menacing. And then you just start beating the fucking shit out of him. Oh my god, was it so good?
Yeah. Oh, when the bomb lands on him,
Oh, and
Yeah.
was on his leg.
Pretty
Yeah.
brutal.
Yeah.
Pretty brutal, but like just
He deserves
smiling
it.
the whole time.
yeah, pretty deserved. Oh, I don't know. That was my. I just wanted to gush about that.
Yeah.
I loved playing that section so much because it was like. Because this is sort of
having Nadine get thrown off and then come back in, or
yeah, no, yes, but the train sequence in general.
Yeah.
Because it was like this was the final chapter of Uncharted for the next little while. This is like Uncharted 4 wrapped up Nathan's story, and this wrapped up the Uncharted experience.
Yeah.
And that's what this game. That's what that section was. It was running. It was grappling. It was the dynamic car sequences. It was the fucking train, which I loved, and it was just a kick-ass boss battle at the end that ended with just a happy ending. It was one of the best moments in an Uncharted game, I think.
It's probably the best boss battle of all the Uncharted too. Like,
Yeah.
it
That's
was-
really disappointing.
like
That makes me not want to play Uncharted.
So
The
it's-
boss battles are always
yeah, the boss battles in the first 3 are very not good.
yeah.
Is there a boss battle in the first game?
In the first game, you've got to like run along the ship, and you gotta. It's bad.
Yeah, you looked
If you
unwell
poke out-
as you were
if you-
saying that.
If you poke out of if you poke out of cover, you get one shot, but you have to because there's enemies. So it's like you got to pick the enemies off, and once you picked enough of them off, the one shot bad guy runs
Like,
along, and so you
it's-
chase them.
And in 3 or
In-
2,
In 3, it's like
the bullet sponge, was that him?
no, that's 2.
That's 2.
That's 2 where there's a bullet sponge, you have to like explode him 18 times.
And it's just gunplay.
It's running around in the circle, wait till they get to like a trap, and you trigger it. You do that like 18 times.
God.
You do it for so
God.
long. It's not good.
Although
4 was good.
There's
Always good.
a scene in Tomb Raider. I can't remember which one it's in. One of the old ones where you fight a fucking dinosaur.
Oh really?
Like yeah, so it's similar to that. You run around in circles and
Yeah.
have to shoot it from behind and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there's
Oh, but
something.
I'm so into that.
There's
Just like dinosaur. Just
but
like,
like 100%. There's something cool in that. I think because it's a fucking dinosaur.
yeah.
I don't know. Sorry, talk about Tomb Raider again.
Maybe if a dinosaur wanted to throw up a nuke in India. Like the
And
the
hide
boss.
Asav because Asav's the only one who can reach the buttons.
The boss battle in 4 is fine. It's
it's like I said, it's similar to this one.
Yeah,
and
it's-
it's better than the other ones.
it's more telegraphed because it's like sword fighting. So like, there's more of like a
there's a swing that's about to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's better than what it used to be. Not perfect. Could be a lot better. But yeah, I appreciate that they at least try to iterate on it, and I don't. And I can sort of see, considering that this is still working on with Uncharted 4, they could still use that same gameplay thing and tweak the animations, just to make that one work. I can see that being a scope thing, because it'll still be quite
because originally
animation heavy and
originally it was DLC. Like it's
exactly
like it is a
it's Uncharted 4 plus.
Yeah, it is a Majora's Mask to Ocarina.
Perfect.
It's
Perfect.
Halo 3 ODST at Halo 3. It's the same systems and the same everything, just refined and distilled.
And different, yeah. Well, I mean, is that our... Do we want to rank this, or are we just going to be like...
Can I ask one more thing?
Yeah.
So I've said my favourite scene was the Shiva statue scene. Yours was the train scene. What was your favourite scene?
The elephant.
Elephants are good. Elephant was short.
Elephant's
very
was
short.
short.
Elephant...
You could feed it the seeds,
Mm-hmm.
the fruit.
But it wasn't like... It wasn't a...
It wasn't a payoff.
Well, like, it wasn't a giraffe in Last of Us.
No, it wasn't.
Which is after, like, 18 hours of pure hell.
I know. It was like half of a giraffe.
It's just... It's a horse. I'm not sure what my favorite... I mean, I liked monkeys a lot.
Yep.
I liked getting pushed... Like, I don't know.
So you liked those, like quick, quirky moments?
Yeah,
like
it was... Like, the little character, like, bouncing off each other moments I thought were really good.
So it's more about, like, your favourite scene would be, like, just character interaction. The character dynamic.
Yeah, which is also not a scene, so I would have to...
Your favourite moments.
Yeah, I'm just quickly going through my notes.
My notes for the train.
While I'm going through these notes, I do remember there was a part I thought was really interesting. When you were mentioning how at the beginning of the game, when Chloe's getting patted down, she kind of changes her demeanour and stuff to make her appear like, just small and insignificant so that she can kind of get past the checkpoint.
Yeah.
In the prologue of the game, when she meets the little girl in India, which we haven't really spoken about that section of the game. The soft opening of the logo is really good. When she just gets in the back of the truck and it just drives off and then the logo appears. I like that a lot. The way Chloe walks in that is different to the way she walks in that entire game.
Yeah.
The rest of it, like she's hunched over and she appears
skipping.
Well, like she appears older.
Yeah.
To kind of
I
give
found she was very gentle with how she pushed through crowds and
Yeah,
stuff like that as well.
Walking slower, just being a bit low, just being low profile, basically.
Yeah. I also think that she sees she sees herself in the little girl.
Oh, totally.
In a way I thought was really sweet.
A schemer, but kind of.
Yeah.
Also, there's
Just
that
like-
father dynamic as
Yeah.
well.
Like crafty and
Yeah.
like when she takes the little Ganesh statuette out of her pocket and tries to barter for it.
Which is sort of similar to like a Nate and Sully moment in Uncharted 3 when you do that flashback sequence because Nate pickpockets Sully's thing and they've been like buddies since forever. Yeah, no, that's good.
That was really good how they set that up. So when you saw the train driving into the city, like the first thing
you could have a moment.
The first thing I thought was like
the girl,
the
market,
market, like
totally.
Yeah.
And that was really the only reason. I did find it a bit weird that Chloe was like, "This is my fight," because that was never that much of a motivation previously.
Yeah.
It was like, all of a sudden, I'm going to go save my people who I even like never lived here.
Well, I think she was just lying to herself throughout the beginning of the game.
Oh, yeah.
Like it wasn't a she changed her mind. It was more that
she realized how personal it was.
Yeah, and I think going through her dealing with her father throughout that game, it would make her think about other families. And the little girl at the beginning as well. Going back to what my favorite moment would be, I think there's a section of the game which I took a note of. It was there's a moment of like it just like a big exhale where they finally reach the first city, is Ballura, I think.
Yeah.
Or is it Ballora?
It's Ballura.
She's mentioning how it's like this is what her dad has been searching for the whole time.
Yeah.
Well, at least that's what she believes at the time. And she kind of exhales, saying that's pretty funny. And there's like this like moment of like almost like not regret that she wasn't like, this is almost like a way of connecting with her father, but
it's bittersweet.
Yeah, it's very much like I think it's also she doesn't want to get too into it like her dad, because her dad was obsessed with it.
Yeah, it's a positive and a negative thing. It's a complex emotional scenario.
Yeah, it's really bittersweet for her to deal with.
Yeah.
Going through something which made her father no longer be a part of her life, because her dad sent her and her mother away.
Yeah. Because he was just irresponsible.
Yeah. Yeah. So I liked that moment, and the other moment of like her realizing that her dad had been there. When she has the little Ganesh statuette.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was very good.
Yeah. Well, do we want to wrap this up with like, I don't know, are we going to rate it, or are we just going to be like, okay, done? Or like...
I rank this as the best game we've done a game club about.
I agree. Best game club to date.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think if I were to wrap this experience up, for me, I think it is one of the best paced Uncharted's. And that is very important with these games, considering how narrative-based they are and how tiresome they can get.
They are known as Uncharted, but continue.
Oh my god. I honestly think it might be maybe my favourite Uncharted.
Yeah.
Which is saying a lot.
It's not even like an Uncharted.
I know, because it's not supposed to be one of the main ones, and
Nah, it is. I reckon...
I know, it just is, you know? It just is. Like, it's not supposed to be, but it just is.
Like, it proves that Uncharted doesn't need Nathan Drake.
Yes.
Which was what I was, like, most wanting from it.
Yeah.
Because when they announced Chloe and Nadine, like, I was surprised because I thought it was going to be Sam and Sully.
Me too.
Because that seems like the obvious choice, which is, I think,
especially
another reason why they didn't...
Yeah. Like, when you're in the house and you see the photo.
Yeah, and... I thought it was interesting to go back to characters which, like, to go back to Chloe, which you hadn't seen since Uncharted Uncharted 3, but pretty much 2, in my eyes anyway, and it was cool to have, just something, like, it was cool to say that Uncharted can stand without Nathan Drake.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, if they make more... and it wasn't Chloe and Nadine, and it wasn't Nathan Drake, and it was someone completely new, I'd still be on board.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I think for me, it was much better than what I thought it was going to be.
Great.
I definitely took a lot more away from it than I thought.
There's a lot to take away from this one as
yeah,
well.
Definitely. I think the main thing that I really, really enjoyed about it, and like why I enjoyed it about it, was the two women leads.
Totally.
And I think, that didn't change throughout it. So
I know. It's nice to see more of that recently, but you like even like you make a good point, is that it's two females.
It's two.
It's not just
it's not one.
And
it's not Chloe and Sam, and it's not Nadine and Sam.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's not like a boy and a girl together.
Yep.
Because that also is very, very common. Like, there needs to be a guy along the whole way through these rides.
Yeah. No, there doesn't. There obviously doesn't.
Yeah,
like, it's proven now.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah.
Especially given that, because Chloe's sort of introduced as this, like, sexy love interest for Nate in Uncharted 2.
Yeah, she is a bit.
As this, like, almost this, like, not exotic, but just different and, like, dangerous. Not dangerous.
Cheeky.
Yeah, just an exciting...
honestly, the word exotic is not inaccurate for
I know.
what they were going for with Chloe originally.
Yeah, because, like, she's so different from Elena. It's like,
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's great to see a development of Chloe past that. And, like, obviously she's more than that because she's in 3 and she's like an equal partner in that game, and that's fine. But yeah, it's an excellent realization of a really great character.
Mm.
I agree.
Great.
I have nothing more to add to that. That was almost exactly, what I was going for.
Shall we talk about future plans?
Yeah, so this is a bit of a test run. We don't know whether we're going to do... I kind of like... I sort of want to leave this as it is, but we were throwing around the idea of maybe distilling this podcast into like an article or something like that. I kind of like leaving it like this.
I think I do too.
Yeah.
I think we
should
covered
just
a
do
lot.
more writing otherwise.
I think we covered a lot more than we could have in a writing form. I think it works better this way as well. But yeah, in terms of doing more podcast stuff in the future and writing on the side.
Yeah, I think so. Because this stemmed from us wanting to do more writing together and put it on a joint site. And then this is like the first thing we've all done for it, which is not writing.
Or working on the site.
So yeah, it's interesting. I think I like this format. I've really enjoyed having this discussion, this long form discussion too, this nitty gritty discussion. In terms of future games,
Leave a game in the comments below.
yeah, I know. Like we've sort of thrown around the idea of Hellblade, because it's cheap at the moment and it's also supposedly great and something I've been wanting to get to, and deals with mental health, and it's got a female protagonist, and it's also kind of short. It's like a AA game that's not like a full length, but it's not like 2 hours either. So that's where we're leaning at the moment.
Won awards, which also is very good.
Yeah,
I'd like to play most games that win awards.
Yeah, well, that's it. I don't think we got much input from you on that, June, when Jeremy and I were talking about it. So
yeah, I'm happy to play Hellblade. I've been meaning to play it. I've been wanting to play it for a long time.
Great.
Not a long time, but like a while. Yeah, I think if it deals with mental health stuff, I'd be very keen to talk about that.
It does, yeah.
So.
And yeah, it's a good excuse for me to buy games at a time where I really shouldn't be buying games. So
It's for work.
Exactly. It's a project.
I could write off a tax if I had a job.
You should have heard Jeremy the other day try and complain that...
we should have Hellblade because I already bought it and I'm unemployed.
Yeah, he's the unemployed one. It's like, you're the one who doesn't pay rent.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's sad.
Shut up.
So yeah, unless otherwise specified, we're going to do Hellblade next. Probably like 2-3 weeks or something. We'll see what happens with your uni.
Yeah, I do start uni next week.
Yeah.
And it looks pretty full on, so we'll see. But I'd really like to. I really like... I think we all really like talking about games.
Yeah.
I feel like that's why this works so well.
Yeah, I was just going to throw out just then that maybe we could get together and all play it together, but that might then ruin the sort of coming together and hashing it all out.
I think so. I don't want to have the opportunity to talk about my opinions with other people, because I'm bad at it, because when I hear an opinion about other people, I tend to agree with that opinion.
Absorb it a bit?
Yeah, and I absorb opinions really easily. So I prefer to have my own set
Totally.
rather than hearing others.
Like, look, I played about 20 minutes of Hellblade, just the opening, and the very beginning of the game is like, play with headphones.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm like,
The
okay.
entire game, I'm pretty sure it says play with headphones, right?
Yeah, because that...
Yeah, like, I
because
understand
that's
that,
psychosis, because you're hearing voices the whole time, it's like behind you, and it's like to your right. It's like been...
That's exciting.
I know, it's been sound engineered to like fuck with you.
That's excellent.
Specifically with headphones. Alright, great.
Cool. Thank you for listening, everyone.
Go team!
Those 3 people.
This was Kerry, Jeremy, and June talking about games.
Follow me on Twitter. Like, comment, subscribe.
Thank you.
Hi, Mom.